What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy, CamATL, and welcome back to another video with your boy. Drop a like down below, comment anything in the comment section to enter your name into the giveaway I do every single week on this channel. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, all that good stuff. Today is the final video of week 3. So this will be the final video that you'll be able to get entered into the giveaway. Tomorrow in the first look lineup video for week 4, I will be announcing the winner of the giveaway. All right, so make sure you comment anything down in the comment section, all that good stuff. Follow me on Twitter at Cam_ATL. That's the best way to get a hold of me. Here we are. We have Dallas at New York. Well, I'm sorry, New York at Dallas. Okay. Um, I'm excited for this one. I think this is going to be a okay game. But the thing is there's so many different ways that this game could end up going. So it's definitely going to be an interesting one. I think that the key here is just to really get the guys that you know are going to get the work, you know are going to be see the field as much as possible, and go from there. Because you really there's just so many different ways. Okay, and we're going to talk about it now. Starting off at the captain spot, you can easily go Daniel Jones. Cooper Rush, you can go the quarterback route at captain. Most times, people will go quarterbacks at captain, or running back or wide receiver. That is the key at captain most times. For me, I have this feeling about Saquon Barkley on primetime. I think him under those Monday night lights, I think Saquon Barkley is going to have a big game, man. I really, really do. After last week's kind of okay game, I mean, at the end of the day, this is the biggest part of this New York offense. You know what I mean? They're missing a couple receivers on that offense as well. Um, this is the biggest part of their offense, period. If the Giants have any success, it's because Saquon Barkley is having success. Now, the Dallas defense has been solid. They're not bad. They're not a bad defense at all. But Saquon Barkley is one of the key guys for me. He is, like I said, he's such a main focal point for that New York offense. And he's just a guy that I definitely want to get exposure in. And I think, like I said, if plain and simple, I think Saquon gets in the end zone once, maybe twice, and he's going to get 20 plus carries and he's going to get 80 plus yards. You know what I mean? If he can get that 100-yard bonus, get in the end zone once or twice, he's looking fantastic for the captain spot. So I really like Saquon, man. I think they rely on the run. I think they lean on the run heavily. On top of that, the offensive line has done a good job at creating holes for him. He's getting like over 5 yards per carry. I know a lot of that is inflated a little bit from week 1, him having such a huge game. And then week 2, he had 20 some carries, 70 yards, something like that. But plain and simple, that just shows you how much they want to get the ball into his hands. He's going to run the ball a ton here. Neither side, I see neither side pulling away, doing anything crazy. So for me, it comes down to, you got Saquon. He's 17-7 at captain. You can go Daniel Jones, save 3,000 on Daniel Jones. That's fine. He can also run, give you a solid floor. Ezekiel Elliott is 12.6, which is a good price as well. CeeDee Lamb 15.3, but Saquon Barkley is probably my favorite play in this game. I just feel that gut feel that Saquon is going to get so much run in this one. I could be wrong. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's one game, so I could be wrong. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, it's one game, and you got to pick the best players on the field, and Saquon Barkley is definitely one of them. So he's the guy. I haven't had any issues with value, and we're going to talk about a value play that I'm locking in, or will be most likely locking in. And so, with that being said, because of the value options we have, Saquon Barkley is a guy that I'm really getting exposure to. Another guy that let's go to the flex area. A guy that is priced a little too cheap, in my opinion. Um, Now we have a couple guys that are a little in that too cheap range that I like. I like Stills. As we know, there's a couple Giants wide receivers who are out. Okay, with that being said, you have David Sills, who played the most snaps out of any Giants receiver last week. You have Richie James Jr., who's 5'4", so you got the 5K and the 5'4" guys right there. Both of those guys are fine plays for me. Either one is fine. I lean Richie James, as you can see. and he's the main guy that I'll be getting on that side if I'm wanting one of those value guys. But for me, I'm getting this run game. I know. Sorry, put him in flex. I know that Zeke hasn't had the greatest year. Okay, and I know that Pollard takes a lot of run from this dude, and it's it's rough sometimes. But he's gonna see at least 15 carries here. He's only 8-4. He's gonna see some red zone carries in this one. At the end of the day, I just feel like this is a solid spot. Last year against the Giants, he scored 2 touchdowns in their first game. He scored a touchdown in their second game. He is on a team that it has their backup quarterback. Cooper Rush did not look bad last week, but they are on their backup quarterback, so expect them to lean heavier on the run. Pollard's more of the pass catching back of the two, so expect them just to lean on the run a little bit here. And that's just kind of my vibe on this one. I think that once again it's going to be kind of a, I mean, like kind of like we saw last night where I mean both the defenses last night were much better than both sides of the defense we're seeing tonight, but um this game doesn't feel like it's going to have a ton of fireworks. So I really, 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 in my gut and my heart, want to lean on the run game for me. So Ezekiel Elliott at 8-4 with their backup quarterback. Expect him to get some dump offs. Expect him to be able to run the ball pretty well here. So I like Ezekiel Elliott at 8-4. All right. Now, when it comes to the value, let's talk about him. Jake Ferguson opens up so much. Tight end for Dallas. As we know, the tight end for Dallas right now is questionable. Let me pull him up real quick. Dalton Schultz is questionable. We'll have to see what happens there. He got in. He got in like no practices for the longest time. He was not looking good at all. I'm still leaning that he misses this game. I do not feel like he makes this one. He's a game time decision right now. He was a limited participant in Saturday's practice, but it's just yeah, I don't know, man. He didn't practice the whole beginning of the week. He only got in a limited practice. I'm expecting them to go ahead and run out their rookie Jake Ferguson, see what they got here, and I'm expecting him to be a fantastic value at only 200. Obviously, this is something to keep an eye on. This is a big difference here now. If Schultz plays, this slate automatically goes from having fantastic value at 200 to not having the best value outside of the giant receivers I mentioned. You also have Darius Slayton, who's an interesting option with those New York wide receivers out. Both of the other New York wide receivers that I mentioned, I prefer them though. We do have Michael Gallup back for Dallas. Definitely interesting. Big body receiver that Cooper Rush might lean on. But at the end of the day, the main key guys are up here, man. The main key guys that you want. So you really want to find that value. I'm fine with going down from one of the top tier guys like Zeke, CeeDee Lamb, those range guys, down to like Richie James, like I said, down to Sills, um, making moves like that to open up some value, especially if Jake Ferguson ends up not being in play. All right, if Jake Ferguson ends up not being in play, that definitely balances the slate out a lot. Like I said, I'm leaning towards as well as what I've read of Schultz not playing, but I'm also recording this early in the day, so I don't have that information. But if Schultz does play, obviously Jake Ferguson is not somebody I'm interested in, and then it will be kind of a balance route, unless you want to take a stab on a Darius Slayton with those two Giants receivers out, or something like that. I think you could do worse than that, but you do run the risk of that being a zero. But a lot of times, like I've talked about before, with like $200 value, honestly, I've had zeros with them and cashed many times. So even if they get you a zero, it's really not going to kill you, but you really need those other guys that you're spending up on because you're getting the 200 guy. Those other guys that you're trying to get in because of that value need to hit. You know what I mean? So obviously on this slate for me, Daniel Jones and Cooper Rush are also guys that are fantastic options. I lean Daniel Jones for the rushing floor. So if you have to choose one quarterback, it would be Daniel Jones for me, because of what he can do with his feet, obviously. Now let's see anything else that I want to mention for this slate. I already talked about Richie James. Noah Brown is 6'8". Noah Brown has that connection with Cooper Rush. These guys have been practicing a lot together. They were on the, you know, when they weren't starting, they were both practicing together on that lower level. So Noah Brown and him have a good relationship. And at 6'8", he's an interesting option for sure. I'd probably, with Gallup being back, would downgrade him slightly because that's another guy who's going to be, needing some targets. Richie James is probably still over him. Sills is probably right there with him. We'll have to see. But yeah, Richie James is interesting to me, man. Richie James has potential today. At 5'4", I really do. I think it's an interesting spot. Now, normally I'm able to, have a good feeling on how I expect the game to go. I really think this game is going to be very close, as you see with Vegas. It's a incredibly close game. I do think it's going to be a very close game, and it's hard for me to envision either side, breaking out. No, this game is in New York. Sorry, I thought it was in Dallas. Yeah. So this game is in New York, I guess. I could have sworn I saw it was in Dallas. I don't know. I don't know. But no matter what, in New York, expect them to rely on Saquon. Expect Dallas to want to get that run game going as well with Cooper Rush at quarterback and kind of this just be kind of a grinded out game. Obviously, the CD Lambs and the other value giant receivers that I talked about, and Sterling Shepard, who also is a guy that's more familiar. I can never say that freaking word properly. He's more familiar with Daniel Jones, so he could also have a ton of work here. So if you want to save, let's say you're going a CD Lamb, and the value of Jake Ferguson gets taken away, going down, pivoting off CD to a Sterling Shepard, or staying on Dallas and going down to a Noah Brown or a Gallup. You know what I mean? Not many people are going to play Gallup. This is his first game back, and I wouldn't expect him to get his full load and full routes run, all that stuff, with his first game back. So, with Michael Gallup just coming back, I probably won't have any of him, but because of that, not many people will have much of him. So, if he does end up coming back and Cooper Rush loves him and throws him the ball a ton, then he could have a huge game. I just don't see a huge one out of him for me, and, I play a little more cash build. I just want to get that money and move on. But Noah Brown and CeeDee Lamb are the two receivers that I'm most focused in. Obviously, the value of Jake Ferguson if Schultz is out. And then on the Giants side, Sterling Shepard's the number one Giants receiver. And then you got Richie James as my second favorite. And then you got Sills. Sills and James are definitely interesting with them being low 5Ks. I do prefer Richie James. I'm not going to have a ton of Pollard. I never really do. It's hard to really play Pollard when you got Zeke being the main back. I mean, Pollard is going to have those breakout games where he just vultures the shit out of Zeke, and he just has solid games out of nowhere. But at 8-2, for a guy who's just not going to play near as many snaps as Zeke, Zeke's going to be out there over 65% of the snaps, whereas Pollard's going to be 30. You know what I mean? So it's much lower, and Zeke's only 200 more, and which is why I have Zeke in the line because I feel like he's too cheap for the amount of work he's going to get here. And like I said, I can see this game being a grinded out, boring-ish type of game. Um, but we'll see. Who knows? In New York, I am siding with New York winning. It's very slight, though. If Dak was playing, I would side with Dallas, but he's not. So I am siding with the Giants. I know a lot of people hate the Giants. There's a ton of Cowboy fans that follow me, and y'all are going to hate me. But with them being at home, I think they're able to establish that run, get that working. I think Daniel Jones is able to do a little damage on his feet as well, and then make it work with the receiver options that he has, and squeeze out a victory. But I don't think it's going to be by much. It's going to be a close game. All right. So that is the pretty much the slate breakdown for me. When it comes to defenses, I mean the Cowboys defense is better than the Giants defense. You know what I mean? I mean, plain and simple, they are. So them being on the road though, if they were in Dallas, I would absolutely love that spot, but they're not. So we will see, man. We will see. This game is gonna be an interesting one for sure. I mean, I could see Dallas winning. I could see Giants winning. I slightly lean Giants, and I do not think it is going to be by much. But that's just my opinion. Cooper Rush did look good last chance he got, so we'll see what happens, man. But yeah, with this game being in New York, I'm gonna side New York, and hopefully everybody smashes, man. Hopefully we get this Jake Ferguson value. That's really what I'm. I really, really want to see Schultz out. If Schultz is in, then things are gonna get definitely interesting. Definitely gonna have to balance more. I'll probably drop Saquon down at captain because I'm spending a hefty amount to have him at captain. So I'll probably be dropping down from Saquon to one of those other plays, maybe like a Daniel Jones at home with his rushing ability and opening up some other things in the lineup. But for right now, with the Jake Ferguson value, I'm going probably my favorite overall play on the slate, and that's Saquon Barkley. And we'll see what happens. All right. Good luck, everybody. Week 4 first look lineup video will be tomorrow. So stay tuned. I'm out. Peace.